What is up, boyos? Today we are talking about Venom, Let There Be Carnage. We're going to be spoiling the poop out of it. We're going to be spoiling the Venom out of it.
Can there be a scene where Eddie Brock just is done with Venom, is done with his bullshit, so he poops Venom out? He's like, Eddie, no.
That's a really good impression. I got to give you that one.
How unfortunate.
I'll leave the floor to you guys. What did you guys think of the movie? Let's.
So,
I thought it was.
You go. No, you go. we're all very who says chivalry is dead here at Lonercast?
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Austin. Why don't you go?
Okay. So when I saw the first Venom, I saw it, I was like, okay, I was entertaining enough. Mostly bad, but it was entertaining. But when it was wrapping up, in the last few moments, when it was just Eddie and Venom talking about what their relationship is like, and just munching on bad guys, I was like, okay, now that the slog of a solo origin movie is out of the way, now it makes room for a very fun sequel that it's just gonna be them just shooting the shit, being Venom and Eddie. And that's what I was hoping for with this movie, and that's the movie that I got, and I was really entertained by it.
Volp, what'd you think?
I thought it was pretty good. I was going in a little bit skeptical because, again, I feel like it's Carnage. It should be rated R, which I feel like they did really good with it still by hiding kind of the violence in a say way. My only real nitpick about it really was I feel like in the first movie they were arguing a lot, and there was still a little bit more than I would have wanted in this one of them just going back and forth and just I hate you, man.
I hate you too, Eddie.
I had not seen the first Venom until the day I saw this second Venom, because I was like, I know we're gonna do this spoiler cast, so I should probably watch the first one as well. And I watched the first one. I actually texted Austin, and I was like, yo, I think I hate this movie. Because I just didn't vibe with it at all. There was some cool, action scenes, when he's on the motorcycle and he's, hitting the dudes off when he first gets the Venom. And, there's some cool stuff. But, ultimately, I thought the movie was just, super cheesy and dumb. And, and this is still an issue with the second one. I don't vibe with Tom Hardy's accent. I don't know what the hell's going on there. I know he's trying to do this New York thing, but it sounds like his British accent is coming through thick in certain elements. And I know people are going to defend it and say that's a choice. He chooses to do that. He's an amazing actor. I feel like he's just not very good at the accent, and he's just slipping into his British accent. But real quickly,
he compensates his accent by his performance being always very skittish and just very tripped out and everything, and moving around, shuffling around and everything, kind of. Yeah.
But I did think the second one was a massive improvement to the first one. Because the first one had a bunch of cheesy music, and it just looked like it was shot on like a $10 budget. It was kind of ugly. I don't know. But this one, it's the soundtrack was cool. It was still cheesy, but they leaned into it, Yeah. Which is what I wanted them to do. I'm if you're gonna be cheesy, really lean into the cheese. I thought it was a fun time at the theaters. Was it as good as Shang-Chi? Fuck no. Was it as good as Black Widow? No, I don't think it was. But it was a good time, and I enjoyed it. And the hour and a half runtime, I felt, was perfect. If it was any longer than that, I think I would have felt burnt out. I thought it was great.
Side note: I haven't seen Shang-Chi yet.
Oh, dude, you gotta see it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
And I haven't seen Black Widow yet.
That one's okay. You could skip that one, but
it's good. But yeah, you can skip it.
It is good though. But Shang-Chi is important, and it's very, very good. What'd you guys think of like the performances?
Kind of super random out of left field, but
Yeah.
the moment that got the biggest laugh out of me that I don't think it meant to was the movie followed the one police detective who who was deafened in one ear by Shriek or whatever.
Mulligan.
Yeah, Mulligan, that's what it was. And there was a whole thing of like always trying to figure out like what is it with Eddie Brock? Like he's always where like these monsters are, like what the heck's going on? And then he gets captured and is there at the end, and then like is confronted by Shriek again. And then just it cuts to him. The last we see of him, like his eyes are glowing, and like now he's like monsters everywhere. Like has powers too. Like what the hell is that?
I have a thing on that. If we want to talk about it now or later.
Yeah. No, yeah. Go into it.
Sure.
So they're either gonna. I think they're either because it could go either way. They're either gonna give him the same powers that Cassidy's to be wife has, or they could go the actual comic route and he becomes Toxin.
Which is just another Venom clone.
Yeah, it's the it's the offspring of Carnage. And if I remember correctly, the symbiotes get stronger as they reproduce. As they go down the line, they get stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we get to see another movie where like Venom like he sees Toxin and he's like, oh, no, not this one, he's green. And then it's just like the same movie again.
Got through the whole spectrum of colors. Yeah. Like, oh shit, it's a purple.
I can't fuck with that purple one. No. To go back to your point. To go back to your point about it being PG-13, I thought it was fine. I think people who are like asking it for it to be rated R were a bit delusional. That was never gonna happen. The first Venom was so successful, like despite it being a critically panned film and it didn't have Spider-Man and everyone kind of going into it was like apprehensive. Despite all of that, it was still a super successful film, and there's no way they were gonna make it rated R. I think if that first one had failed, they maybe would have thought about making it rated R.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of
like how like the first
X-Men.
Suicide Squad was PG-13 and it sucked. Then the second one, like the newer one, is rated R.
Yeah, rated R. Like the rated R play for comic books always seems like a desperation move. Like, oh, this didn't work with the kids. Kids didn't want to see it. So what if we just like really play it into the adults and just spend less on it?
Yeah, like X-Men and like, like our new
Logan.
Apocalypse, was it that came out before Logan? And then Logan came out and Logan was the hot shit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I didn't think it was ever going to be rated R, especially with that end credits scene, which we can jump into that if you want, or we can wait and like talk about the movie for a second.
I wanted to add a little thing about it being PG-13. Like, both movies like were really pushing for like hard PG-13 so they can have like Venom bite people's heads off and everything. This one was, I'm not going to say it was more artful about it, but it was more smart. It was smarter in how it pushed it for a hard PG-13 than the first one was, because the first one was like very bloodless, like head biting heads off and everything, and had like very basic like PG-13 action in it. While this one had like basic stuff, but it was more creative, more like pushing PG-13.
The camera angles were really good with how they did it.
Yeah, the first one saw its PG-13 rating as a liability and tried to push it harder, but it just couldn't. Well, this one pushed it more as an asset, and like they knew what they could get away with PG-13.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with your one F-bomb, you can throw in there.
Yeah, it was perfect too, where he's just like, "Fuck this guy," and then he ate his head.
Yeah, that was a better F-bomb than the first one.
Yeah. But I wanted to say, if you want a rated R Carnage movie, go watch *Malignant*, okay? Because that'll give you exactly what you want. It's a different kind of story, but it'll get the job done. It's just as cheesy, but it's definitely rated R, and it's fantastic.
That's a completely different like topic in general.
I love that.
What's maligma?
Maligma balls.
I was also gonna say, if you wanted rated R Venom that came out that same year, watch Upgrade. Of like the dude who gets like the AI in his body.
Is that
and,
also
like,
Tom Hardy?
It's a Tom Hardy lookalike. It really looks like Tom Hardy. But there's like this part where he's fighting off these dudes and he doesn't have control of his body. It's just the AI's control. And he like fucks dudes up. And it was really cool.
I'd never even heard of this movie.
Yeah, like there's a part, like I'm not gonna spoil it, but like the part I remember the most about it is like he takes his kitchen knife and like the parts where Tom Hardy like acts like Venom's controlling his body, which he does really well, by the way. Like that's what all of Upgrade is about. And there's this part where he's like fighting off this dude and it's like really violent and he's reacting to like the horrible things he's doing, like, oh, I'm sorry, like, oh god, like. But there's this part where he takes his kitchen knife and like forces it into like this dude's mouth and then just like
nice.
Pulls back, like half decapitates him and like pries his mouth and jaw open.
That is interesting about Tom Hardy with this movie, though. It feels like Tom Hardy is trying to make this like his Deadpool. Like this is his Deadpool. Because if you notice during the credits, when I watched the credits, I was like, wow, he got like a story credit, a producer credit, and obviously he's like the head, the main actor. So I was like, wow, like he was actually very involved with this movie, which I don't think he was as involved in the first one.
Yeah.
Which, this is no Deadpool. I like him. I don't know. It's the accent, man. I can't get over the accent. It's too weird. I don't know what he's doing. I like his Venom, like when he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Venom." Like I'm cool with that, but like when he's just talking normal, I don't get it. His Eddie Brock, I don't vibe with
I
it.
keep forgetting that he's also the voice of Venom. Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that, and I just love that Venom voice, dude. And it barely even sounds like him.
Yeah, he nails that shit. Because you hear him do it a couple times when he's like mocking him, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just like his voice. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. This is definitely one of the best romantic comedies I've seen in a long time. Because a lot of the story beats between Eddie and Venom play out like they're a couple and like they break up and then they have to get together at the end. And especially when Venom like goes basically like sleeping around town to town trying to find a new host body. And it's like they keep dropping like flies and he goes to that party to like mingle.
That speech was amazing at that when he was in the club.
Yeah. Like,
I like that.
Need Eddie anymore.
When they first showed off like the trailer without any context, it's like, okay, but I think they did good.
Yeah, like I've heard a lot of people complaining about it. Like, why would Venom go to a club and he's like wearing these like glow sticks or whatever? I was like, I thought that was funny and like it was endearing.
Yeah,
and and I've also heard people say like there was no character development in this movie. I'm like, did we watch the same movie? Like him and Eddie are like fighting through the whole movie and then at the end they like come together. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
I don't get it at all.
And like Venom is always supposed to be like a silly dude, not like Deadpool silly or like even Spider-Man silly, but like he can crack jokes and like make fun and make light of what he's doing.
Yeah,
like when he's taking care of that one guy like in the streetlight, it's like, we will take your head and take it to what is the one we like, Lucky Strike. We will take it to Lucky Strike.
There was also the character development with I can't remember his name, but it's his ex love interest, the new guy. They go from hating him, and at the end, Venom was just like, okay, I guess you're okay.
David.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I forgot that dude was in the first movie, because he's like the doctor in the first movie, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, the reason I remember him more in this one is because everyone was allowed to have more fun in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, in the first one, definitely Tom Hardy and Venom were allowed to, like, have fun and, like, be entertaining, while everyone else was like playing pipe of just like having the plot go along, be like, oh, the supportive love interest or like the other man. Here, everyone was allotted to have like their own moment, like their own like action moment, their own like comedy moment. Like even fucking Miss Chen in this movie got to be taken over by Venom,
which was hilarious. Yeah, that was
yeah.
really
I fucking love that.
Her realization. Wait, Venom.
Yeah.
And then the eyes.
That was the big like difference maker for me with this film versus the first one, where it was like the first one was silly, but it still took itself pretty seriously at times.
Yeah.
Where like this one was like, we're not taking ourselves seriously at all. We don't care. This is a goofy movie, and not the goofy movie, but it is a goofy movie. And like that's just what the movie is. Like we're just gonna be a really silly, stupid movie. Like Woody Harrelson in this movie, and his love interest. What is it? Shriek? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Not Black Cat. Like their love interest made me think of like, what would the Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship look like if they made this, if Joel Schumacher had Harley Quinn and Joker in Batman Forever. You know, that's what it felt. That's what it felt like to me. I was like, this is like a '90s version of Harley and Joker, and I was like, this is ridiculous and stupid, and I like it. It's, you know, it.
No, like I got a really good laugh at the whole thing. Like, oh, we're gonna go to the chapel and we're each gonna bring a guest that's like our hostage. And then you go to the chapel and she's like walking down the aisle, treating it like it's an actual wedding.
Yeah.
Like that is super like campy, like Harley Quinn tier shit.
I love in that scene. I love the part where Carnage is like, "Hello, Father," and he's talking about killing him, and the priest is like in the corner cowering. He's like, "Not that one."
Yeah, that was a yeah.
And then he gets eaten anyways.
But yeah, that whole fight scene was pretty cool too, where it was like them like coming in and out of like their symbiotes, you know, like, and at one point it's just like the two of them fighting because there's the big bell and the sound makes them freak out and they come out. Like I like that scene. I thought it was pretty fun.
That's a better excuse to have just your two human leads fighting than in the first one. In the first one, they just like were human for a second, and you don't really know why. Just so you can see Tom Hardy and was it Riz Ahmed? Is that who he was? The not Elon Musk dude.
Yeah.
So they can fight. Well, this one made more sense because, like, of course, Shriek and like the bells like subdued the symbiotes. So the main dudes had to fight.
Yeah, and it made way more sense. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the action scenes were pretty fun. Like there was the scene where Venom is like, I need to fucking eat something else besides these chickens. I need to find a bad guy to go eat. Like this shit sucks. I need to go eat somebody. And like he's jumping around and stuff. I was like, this is cool. Like I like the way he looks. I like the way this looks, him jumping around. Gets me excited for what they're gonna do with him in the future, involving, you know, a certain guy in red and blue tights, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Superman. Yeah, so like I'm like excited to see him like hop around a city more. But should we talk about that end credit scene? Should we?
Sure.
I screamed.
You screamed.
I screamed.
I mean, I had it leaked and I got it spoiled for me ahead of time because, like, but that's okay. Like, I've ever since like Far From Home, I've kind of been just whatever for like mid-credit scenes, but it's still cool.
Yeah, I think I kind of got it spoiled. Someone just sort of mentioned like I think Tom Holland is in the end credit scene. I'm like, what? And then when it happened, I'm like, whoa, okay, like this is nuts.
I kind of had it spoiled because I saw like a post and I didn't know if it was real or not. Where he had like the No Way Home production hat on, Tom Holland did. So I was like, oh, so if it's true, then they're gonna do it. But then I forgot about it.
And for me, I'm just like, what does this mean for the future of the MCU? Because this movie has a lot of connotations connected.
Should we talk about actually what it is, just in case people for some reason haven't seen it and are here?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
So there's the point where they're on the run at the end of the movie, and Venom's like, "Hey, do you want some of the knowledge, a brief history of the Clintar, which are the symbiotes?" And Tom Hardy's like, "Yeah." And so they're about to do it, and then an orange flash happens. Venom's like, "Yo, that wasn't me." And then on the TV, it's Jonah J. Jameson on the exact part of No Way Home,
Far
where
From
he's
Home.
like, Far From Home, where he's like, "Hey, here's Peter Parker."
And then it shows Peter Parker, and he's like,
and then Venom's like, "That guy," and like licks the TV screen.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting theory about that part.
So like, what does this mean for the MCU? Is Venom going to be in No Way Home?
I really hope so.
I feel like he's going to. If not, they're going to do like a post-credit scene.
Because there is a scene where we see Tom Holland running, and he's wearing the black suit.
Yup.
So I'm like,
so
what's that mean?
I did see some merchandise, because that's how we find out about everything about these movies nowadays.
The Lego ones.
It was like a Halloween costume where I think that suit is his regular suit, just inside out, because you see like all the circuitry from Homecoming on the inside. So again, that could be just them bullshitting to like cover their tracks, and it very well could be like Venom suit. But I am really excited at the notion of this Venom being in at least No Way Home, or like some Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if he wasn't in No Way Home, because if they're backtracking and doing like Raimi universe and like the Amazing Spider-Man and everything, I don't see why Sony wouldn't want to put in a movie from a franchise that they're currently doing to like net more interest in that for people that still hold out on it.
Yeah.
It's like, for you people that haven't seen this because it's not in the MCU, it's in the MCU now, so you gotta watch it.
I have this kind of a theory. There's a scene in one of the trailer they dropped where it looks like he's like in a sewer and you can see something in the background drop. I think that's either now Venom, I think it's Lizard, or it's going to be Morbius. Because I completely forgot that was a thing until someone brought it up.
Yeah, I don't think they'll introduce Morbius. They might do like an end credit scene, because the thing with No Way Home, this could be their way of bringing Spider-Man back to the Sony verse, like, because after this it could just be that Tom Holland is now Spider-Man, but he's not involved with the MCU anymore, which is possible. I think that's totally possible. So then there could be like an end credit scene where it's like, here's Morbius, because that movie's coming soon. But I don't think it'll be fully wrapped up until the end of whatever Doctor Strange is, the Multiverse of Madness. I think that's really where we're going to see like some things wrapped up, maybe even in the next Avengers movie. Because it seems like they're kind of setting up like a big thing here in the MCU. But the other thing with this movie, I don't know, like, what does this mean for mutants? Because they kind of introduced mutants in this movie.
Yep. Because
Shriek is a mutant.
Yeah,
like she is a mutant. So like they kind of introduced mutants in this movie as well.
That's a good question. I think it is going to be like a slow rollout of like this, like during all this multiverse stuff. It's either going to be during all this multiverse stuff like a new like genus of humans is being evolved, and it's the mutants, and it's going to start the divide and everything. Of course, start X-Men, or they could just do what everyone's expecting, like the X-Men as we know them are going to jump in from the multiverse, because there is this rumor that like there's going to be this big fight between Scarlet Witch and Professor X, which I don't know why, but that's the rumor.
You'd think you'd think like Daddy Magneto would show up, but
Yeah.
I forgot because she's in the Doctor Strange movie, isn't she?
yeah.
Maybe it could be something that like, oh, she's scouring across all these multiverses to find like her kids that aren't real, and she happens upon a family tree of hers from another universe where Magneto is her dad.
I don't know if you guys follow comics at all, but
I pretend that I do.
yeah, that's fair. Me too, because it's impossible to read everything. So I read what I can, but really I don't know anything. But back in like I think it was like 2014, something like that. I can't remember exactly when it was. DC Comics introduced this thing called the New 52, right? I'm sure you guys kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Where it was basically like, hey, we're resetting everything. Like everything's resetting. We're resetting the timelines, all of that. And they kind of just went buck wild, right?
Like by number one of everything now.
Right. And then it was about like 5 or 6 years later, people really didn't care for it much. So what they ended up doing was like Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen came in and he like reset the timeline. So then they brought back everything that was old and everything that they liked from the New 52. They kept around like Batman because everyone liked the New 52 run of Batman.
Yeah.
So, and that's how they did it. I feel like Marvel, the MCU, is kind of doing that right now where they're like, we're going to set up a bunch of stuff. And then in a few years, there's going to be a big event that happens, like Dr. Manhattan shows up. Obviously, it won't be Dr. Manhattan, but something will happen that would be crazy because, yeah, Marvel buys Warner Brothers. But like something's going to happen, and then I feel like everything's going to reset. They're going to keep the things that they like the newer things, probably like the Fantastic Four, because they're going to introduce them soon. And then they'll probably like reboot this whole fucking thing. And they'll be like, here's Iron Man. It's a new guy, but it's rebooted now. I feel like that's going to happen in the next few years.
When they introduce the Fantastic Four, if they don't set up Doctor Doom to be this bigger than life dude,
it could be
I'm
Doom.
gonna be mad. Because Doom is like one of my favorite villains just because he's not like Thanos and all those like Titans and stuff. But he has like enough power still because of like his smarts and everything.
Yeah.
I think Doom is the perfect guy to be like the catalyst for the big reboot. And I think when they reboot, and I'm just shooting the shit right now, but like when they reboot, a perfect way to reboot is to just start with X-Men. Just start with X-Men, because right now introducing X-Men into the MCU is going to be like such a hard thing to do, because it's like, where were they all this time? Like where the fuck were all these mutants all this time? Where were they when Thanos happened? And that becomes harder and harder and harder as this thing goes along, because mutants are such a huge part of like the Marvel universe. So like if mutants exist in your cinematic universe, where the fuck have they been for the past 10 years?
Yeah, and not just like, like the X-Men or like the mutant hero characters, but like the whole like portion of society,
like
the whole aspect of society being mutants. Like,
yeah, so I think that they may do that.
Another thing though is because they have mutants in Deadpool, and isn't the next Deadpool supposed to be in the MCU line?
Okay, so I kind of have a theory about that. So y'all have seen Loki?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like with the whole multiverse madness and everything, and with Loki being as like fourth wall trickster as he is, I feel like there's going to be something where he is aware of and can jump universes. And so he jumps from his universe and fully acknowledges it to us, the audience, with like a wink and a nudge, that he's leaving the Fox X-Men universe and jumping into the MCU, and his mission
there will
is
probably
to
be an X-Men or Wolverine cameo as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
So he's gonna jump into the MCU to kill his variant of Wayne Wilson in the MCU to take his place. And when he tracks him down, it finds out the Wade Wilson MCU variant is played by Hugh Jackman. But like, he's not anybody. He's just like this rando who like happens to be just his variant. And he's disappointed. That's
that
not
is
going to
the
be
thing.
some big fight.
That'd be the thing
really cool
with introducing Deadpool into the MCU. He's gonna be like so like tangentially like related. Like he's barely related to the MCU because he could just acknowledge it and just be like, "Huh, I was part of Fox. Now I'm part of Disney." Like he could just do that, and you know, like it doesn't really matter. I think the other X-Men are gonna be the hard thing though. Like when you introduce a new, Professor X or a new Magneto, like
just introducing a new Wolverine, I think is going to be tough, just because it's not going to be Hugh Jackman, and the people are going to be like, I don't like it.
I think you could get somebody.
Definitely, but I think that's the hard part, is finding someone that everyone will be like, okay, I'm fine with that. That's a good choice.
It's funny because I think that person would have been Tom Hardy, but he's kind of taken.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
Patrick Warburton.
There was something about Henry Cavill talking about wanting to join the MCU. I don't know about Wolverine, but I feel like he could do something.
I feel like that's going to be a harder sell for people because
I think
he's Superman.
He'd be a good. I don't know. He could be anything. I guess he'd be a good like young Magneto. I guess. I don't know. Who the hell would he be? I just think of Henry Cavill and I'm just like, that's Superman.
I didn't really watch him as Superman, so I just think of like The Witcher now.
That's fair.
Any other thoughts about this movie and the connotations that it brings to the MCU?
So the whole thing that Venom talks about, but at the start of that end credit scene, where it's like years of hive knowledge across universes would blow your mind, Eddie. But so does that mean that he is aware of what the Venom from like the Sam Raimi movies was up to?
That's a theory
and that's why he recognizes Spider-Man, is because like our Venom hasn't met any kind of version of Spider-Man, but he is aware of like hive mentality, hive knowledge of Venom in before, so he recognizes that is a Spider-Man.
So, and I saw there about another thing that I think about that end credit scene. How much do you guys know about like the symbiote / Clintar?
Not much.
So they're up until the newer comics, they had their Supreme guy that they all came from named Null. Now it's Carnage. Dude's an absolute cosmic carnage now. But I feel like they would have, like, if they did go through with showing him the knowledge, it would have started and we would have had an introduction to Null, like the god of all of them, which I think would be cool. The one that they all spawned from, in a sense.
So you think like that guy would be even beyond like the multiverse? He would
something like that.
He's a god. Even it doesn't matter which multiverse you're part of. It's the same guy.
Something like that, because the Clintar, they have dragons that are capable of killing gods. So I think it'd be interesting to. I feel like that'd have been really cool to introduce the more deeper end of their species, and just have like that in the background. We would probably do anything with it for a while, but I think that'd have been cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to like see where the MCU goes from here, because like, and the Sonyverse, because like, after Endgame, I was kind of like, what do they do now? Like what did they do? And WandaVision came out and it was cool, and then Falcon Winter Soldier came out and I was like, it was okay. Then Loki came out and I'm like, oh shit, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Then Shang-Chi came out. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And then, Venom is like...
Your voice gets higher every time. Like, oh, what's going on here?
What the fuck is going on here, man? And it just said,
Tom's like,
oh, shit, man! So, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm really, really excited for Spider-Man now. Which I was kind of like, because I think the Tom Holland Spider-Mans are like, they're fine, they're fun movies, but they never really... they didn't get me. like the rest of the MCU did.
Mm.
But I'm excited for this movie because I don't know. I don't know what it means. I don't know what any of it means.
So I got one more side question. So he's in the MCU now, and because either Mulligan now is possibly toxin, there's something with him. Do you think we're going to get our own Venom, or do you think, like you guys said, they're just going to move Spider-Man over, or do you think they're just going to send Venom back and he was like a cameo?
I feel like Venom and Mulligan, and I feel like Spider-Man is gonna have to like sacrifice himself and like stay in the Venom verse or something, and that's how it's gonna, maybe this one or maybe Doctor Strange or something, like a portal's closing and he's like, I gotta stop them, and he like runs in there and then he's just stuck in the Venom verse or whatever. I don't know, because I feel like this is gonna be. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but this is gonna be their way of getting rid of Spider-Man in the MCU.
Yo, that would be awesome, because so like they're positioning Venom as like being in like an anti-hero and like a good guy. Like, oh, we're gonna be killing bad guys. What if that happens and like just Tom Holland is stuck in like the Venom and like the Sony verse? He has nowhere to go. Like he has like no family, no friends, and everything. He could stay with Venom and like Eddie Brock at their place. Just be with them on the run, and they're just buddies. So just Spider-Man and Venom, like just shooting the shit. I'd see the shit out of that.
I'd love that, but I also want to see I want to see him stay in long enough, at least for him and Deadpool to be kind of like introduced, because they're like amazing together in the comics.
Yeah, one of my favorite runs is the Spider-Man Deadpool run. Yeah. I would love that as well. But like that's the thing, is like Deadpool's coming out soon, and I feel like now that he's part of the Disney verse, we're gonna see so many fucking cameos in that movie. I feel like the Deadpool movie is gonna be cameo the movie. Like I really do. Like we're gonna see Spider-Man, we're gonna see Hugh Jackman. I feel like that movie is gonna be cameo city, and they're gonna put money into it.
So it wouldn't be the same as a Stan Lee cameo, but I think it'd be pretty cool to have now Deadpool just in back shots and cameos in any of the movies now.
Yeah.
I think it should be Chris Evans. I think Chris Evans should be the new Stan Lee, and like he's just the guy in every movie where he makes a little cameo, because he made that cameo in Free Guy, and I was like, yeah, just have Chris Evans, because they never really explain what happened to Old Man Steve. He's just there. That's what he's doing now. He's just in the background doing his thing.
I hope we do get more on like what he's doing after now.
I think we will, for sure. I think they have to explain it. I like to believe that he's on the moon, because they say in the show a couple times, oh yeah, he's up on the moon. I think he's actually on the moon.
With Fury on that base.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that too now.
Yeah,
they just explained it in, what was it? Was it at the end of Captain Marvel they showed that off, and they haven't really done anything with it other than at the end of WandaVision?
Yep.
Yeah. I know Jake's answer, but have you guys watched any of What If?
No.
Just a couple episodes.
I've seen things and stuff about it, but I haven't sat down to watch any of them.
It's pretty fun. Like the latest episode is starting to turn it from like, oh, it's just fun anthology of like, oh, what if, to now like, oh shit, now relevant things are happening, like with Marvel multiverse and everything.
I knew that would happen.
Doesn't Ultron and Vision's body try, like, doesn't he hear the Watcher and like fight him or something?
Yeah, and it's my favorite moment in the series so far, where like the Watcher sees Ultron seeing him and is like coming towards him. He's like, I've seen everything that has ever happened, ever will happen, ever could happen. But this, what the hell is this? And it turns into like this big fight, and it's like really awesome. And now they're leading up to like, they're going to gather all the different characters from the different universes and stories to like form a team. So like Captain Carter and Star-Lord, T'Challa, and even Party Thor, they're gonna be like a team to like fight off Ultron's threat to the multiverse.
Huh.
Yeah, I plan on
cool.
I plan on watching it eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, I'll probably do it once everything's out.
Yeah, I was planning
Yeah.
on just like I'll just binge it one day.
Like some episodes are really good. Some of them are just like, oh, that was fun. That was cute.
Is the
But a lot
zombie
of
one any
them,
good?
it's kind of like Twilight Zone, like in how like it's structured and how it's narrated. But a lot of episodes are like oh, that's how it is in this universe until it's the end of the world. Like every episode ends on like a dour note. Like the zombie one is like oh, like we have our last hope. We can take the cure. And he's like, oh, that's how it went down in this universe. Too bad it meant the end of the world. And you see zombie Thanos. It's really cool. And
I couldn't get past the like art of it. I just think it looks kind of ugly.
yeah, like
The animation, like I can't
Mhm.
get into it.
yeah, like it's kind of something I had to get used to, especially when it's like CGI trying to look cell shaded and everything. In some
Yeah.
shots, it looks kind of blocky, but I don't know. Like a lot of the effects animation for like fights and like smoke effects and everything look really cool. Like the action scenes themselves are really cool. They're really fast. Like they're like the kind of fights you'd see in the movies, but just a lot more intense, a lot faster because they're allowed to be because it's animated. But I'd say it's worth a watch, at least to like stay current in the whole multiverse shenanigans.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll definitely watch it just cuz I review all of these goddamn movies, so I feel like I need to
Yeah.
just to but so with that, I think I don't know unless you guys have something else to add. I think we're going to wrap it there. You guys want to give yourself some shouts outs? Let's start with you, Austin.
All right. So I'm Austin on Instagram and Twitter. I'm AT Allison, and I rant and I write and I mostly draw, and I do freelance writing for Collider.
Cool. Volp?
My name is Vulpanator. I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm starting to do some stuff on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at Vulpanator1. Everywhere else, Twitter, Twitch, Vulpanator. Yeah, schedule's a little bit weird since I'm moving out to Washington in a month, so I'm getting everything set up. But
Oh damn.
yeah,
Well, good luck on your journey.
Yeah.
Make sure you check out all the other Lonercast shows if you're watching this or listening to this later on different free feeds. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. You can watch it live on twitch.tv/Lonercast. Yeah, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.
see you guys.
Yeah.